Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here with another episode of Free Pattern Friday. Now, we're going to put some borders on the baby quilt I made. Now, I'm just going to quickly show you what the baby quilt looks like. So that's, I did 4 blocks of love chain, and then we assembled all the other blocks together. So it kind of looks, you get this cool, funky, you know, vibe coming, but it's only 3 feet, well, 36.5 inches by 36.5 inches. It's like a little small for a baby, because I like making my quilts bigger, right? Because that way you use up more scraps. So we're going to do a couple of borders. I'm going to show you how to put them on, so it's really easy for you to do. But first, let's get to our shout out. Leslie at Leslie's Quilts is a new to me channel. I haven't been subscribed to her very long. We're filming this right at the beginning of June, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to give you a shout out for her. She doesn't know what's coming, so when you go over there and check her out, tell her Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, and give her some love and some encouragement. Now, also we're gonna do Spring Fling with strings is well underway, and Quilt Bingo. Oh no, Spring Fling with strings is probably done by the time we're putting this one out, because we're filming it at the beginning of June. Anyways, there's going to be like 3 weeks of quilt math and then quilt bingo, right? So that one, the quilt bingo, is going to be a fun little skill builder. It's for beginners, intermediates, and experts, but you can switch around if you want to learn different skills or improve your skills. It's all up to you how you want to do this. Also, the Zoom sew dates are in those show notes. It's so important you get in the show notes, right? And it's from now until the end of December. We're just doing the first Saturday of the month, and we are having so much fun with that. It has just been so great to talk and chat with all of you. It's been wonderful. Also, the So Yeah Brothers charity drive is probably wrapping up very quickly. So if you haven't got your charity quilt to them, or do so now today, try to get it as soon as you can. People that have participated in the past couple of years have just had a hoot. So, and it's going to the charity, the homeless people in Alaska. So it's kind of a thing that they're doing every year. So when they start, I'm trying to give you guys a bit of time ahead, so when they start, so that you can, get your quilts ready for them. Also, share, like, and subscribe. Making comments all helps our drive our analytics and helps move our video forward, and we would love to continue giving you fun, free patterns and things and how-tos and all the rest of this stuff. We also have a Facebook group, and the virtual sewing room is hosted by Discord, and that is private for the Facebook group members only, and it's 24/7. So you can, now have a sew date that's 24/7, and there's numerous community chats. We have all sorts of fabric exchanges by country to keep the postal costs down. We just have a lot of fun in there. Plus, we do the same thing other Facebook groups do, like ask questions and share pictures, and we just have a lot of fun. I speak for free and to your groups or your quilt guilds about elements of design, working with scrap fabrics, and making charity quilts. So if your group or guild is looking for somebody to talk on those topics, I'll be happy to make an accommodation to give you guys a speaking engagement. Also, if you guys do shout outs or you see a quilting related channel, right, please link them to me. Now, you can get a hold of me either through my email address, which is in the About tab, or message me under Facebook, because I'd be more than happy to, give them a shout out and add them to the list. I think that's all we talked about now. Okay, so come on in. Let's get to our adding a border for this charity baby quilt. Okay, we're at the sewing machine, and what we're going to need for this is pins, right? I know, and you guys say, oh my goodness, she's pinning. I'm putting on a 3.5 inch border on this baby quilt here that we sewed over the last 6 weeks or something like that, and I just want to make it bigger, because I think it's a little small, and I think it would be better if it was bigger. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a longer strip. I have shorter strips here that I will use for other things that go around, but I have a longer strip here, and I'm wondering if it's long enough, because that will help us get through the border. Now, I'm going to put 2 borders on. I'm going to put a light one on first, And I'm going to put on a dark one. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlap this, and there's an overhang right there. Now, to get your borders to fit without being wavy is really important. So you just want no stretching. Stretching is not allowed. And what you're going to do is you're going to tap it and push it in place. Now some people, what they do is they take all these very careful measurements, and let's see, this is not working out. They take all these careful measurements and they still end up with a wavy border. Now, when I'm doing a big twin or a queen, right, or something like that, right, I will do that method, right? I will take the time to measure the side, make sure the piece I'm adding is going to be the right length, and then go from the middle out to the edges, all of that, right? That's what I would do, right? Now, oops, okay. And now this is over just a hair, so that's okay. I'm gonna make sure, and you just basically, you're not stretching it. You're not stretching, you're not pulling, you're not anything, right? That's when you start pulling and stretching and making stuff gather, and yeah, that's where you have problems. And I'm just going to cut it like that. I've just got a little bit, I folded over the excess. Now I've got a little bit hanging over the edge, which is fine. I just want a little bit over. This piece now goes into the pile of stuff that I sew together. Right now, with my 1/4 inch foot on, and where is my, let's get the foot pedal. We found the foot pedal, it's all good. Now I've got a bit over here, that's what we wanted, right? Now I have not stretched this, I have not done anything weird. So basically now, I'm gonna go through and without pulling, go through, just sew it on slowly. Now if I was doing a border for a twin or a queen, I would sew slowly. This is not the time to race. This is so not the time to race. You want your feed dogs to keep up with the movement of the fabric, right? Like, you don't want to be pulling or, anything else like that. I'm probably going to run out of thread doing this, but that's okay. That's okay. There. There we go. There. There now. Now, what I'm going to do, there we go. There, oops, and now all the weight is dragging it down. This, I had a whole bunch of pieces of this fabric, and I was like, ugh, I didn't know what to do with it. After a while, you don't know what to do with it, and you're like, oh dear. Oh, guess what? I ran out of bobbin. Oh, that was odd. Okay, so let's just pull this through backwards. See, something like that you can do on an antique machine. You couldn't do that on a modern machine. And I'm just going to switch out my bobbin. And I only have the one bobbin left. This should be an interesting day today. Yeah. But you can't do that with a regular machine where you just pull your thread backwards. But I can with an antique machine because all of the thread is traveling along the outside of the machine. Nothing goes inside. So in case you guys are going, oh, she just pulled her thread backwards. Yes, I did. You can't do that with the modern one. That's bad. It would be bad. So let's get back up here. And of course, now we've pulled all our pins. This is going to be a little awkward. But this is real life sewing. So, there we go. It's a short seam. We've only got like a 1/4 inch overhang on the other side. We should be okay. We should be okay. We're not going to be stretching anything. We're not going to be pulling. We're just basically steering the fabric and holding the seams below into the right spot. Like I say, if any of you wanted to make this, I said in the instructions of the love chain block, you have to make 4 of those. And then one goes top, bottom, and then from side to side. It goes in the middle side to side. There we go. Ugh. And we're only a 1/4 inch out. Okay, we're exactly where we needed to be. So that's good. Okay. Now, instead of, I'm going to add a few of these together because I think it's important that we use up the smaller pieces next. And I'll show you just a really quick way of how to join these. And then I'll show you how to handle the corner. Now you just run these like under, like just a straight stitch under. There we go. And I'm going to add another piece, so I'll have some piece bits that go into the quilt, because that's okay if it's pieced. This is all, it's got a little bit of a purple undertone. It might not look like that in the camera, but it's it works with the purple and the creamier background. So here we go. Okay, so we take this end and we're going to just finger press this open real quick, like just finger press it open, because that's where it's joining. Now, where I had this overage, okay, now I'm going to lay this down flat and I'm going to use the quilt as my measurement for the overage. There, that's what I'm cutting off. Now I will do the same on the other side as well, because I'm here. Okay. Now I'm just going to lay this down nice and flat, just like so, and trim using the quilt block out on the top as the guide. So there. Now I've got my seams are managed, so I'm going to pick this seam, oops, and I'm just going to press the border, finger press the border out. That's all I'm going to do right now. Just press it out nice and neat, nice and quick. Now, okay, so this would now go here. And I'm just going to go 1/4 inch over. Like a 1/4 inch, just a 1/4 inch. I'm going to just trim this up later. And I'm going to pin again all the way down. And not stretch anything, like not be pulling or anything. I mean, the only thing I'm doing now is pulling the weight off the edge of the table, my old sewing table. But that, there, we're just going to keep going. Just pinning it all the way. No stretching, no tugging, no pulling, no none of that nonsense. Because nobody needs that. Because this is how you get ruffles, right? Now I'll do this, I'll risk this method on a quilt that is smaller, because I'm not going to worry about the ruffles. Now but I might not do this for a longer quilt. Okay, there. Now some of this is still attached to the machine, And do I have a leader ender handy? Yes, I do. Okay, let's get those in. Let's get those through here. Okay. And I just got a quick little leader ender here. I'm going to run through just to get the rest of the border off. This is not the outer border. Now, we got this. We finger press it open because we can. There we go. And just keep moving this along just like so. And not pulling, not anything. There. And if I have stuff that's left over, I will put it into like my, because it's all this stuff here especially is already at the 3.5 level, so I will just make it happen. There we go. Now I'm going to fold this. Now you can fold it so it matches or leave it a 1/4 inch over. I prefer to leave it a 1/4 inch over. So I'm just gonna cut this right there like so. And I know some of you are like, oh, that's not how you do borders. Yes, you can do border this way. It's a short border because you're only going over 3 feet. You're not going over like what seems like miles of fabric. Okay, so let's get started. There we go. There we go. And you just continue all the way around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut here and go all the way around with my low volume, and then I'm going to go show you what I do with the purple one, because that now is a longer border. Okay, so we will cut here. Okay, we're back. Now I've got all 3 borders of this purple and all around the low volume all the way around. Right, so I'm going to show you how people normally put on borders because it's kind of important. So what they do is they take it and measure it in half. They take this and they line up these corners here, and then they take it and they put a little divot, or they can put a pin. You know, you can scratch it in with your nail. And any border size, you do the same thing. You take it and you divvy it up in half, and then you give it a little swoosh there with your nail. Basically, you're creating a little divot. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to open this quilt up just like so with your divot, so that you can see your divot is right there. And you're going to be able to open this up here and see where your divot is here. And you're going to line up your divots. Now, I'm just going to go just like that. So the center is centered on both pieces. Now, the purple is much longer than it needs to be, but that's okay, right? Because you don't want wavy borders. So we're just going to pin some of this in place without any stretching, or, you know, there's no pulling or anything like this. It's just all, you know, just pin it and pat it in place. That's probably the easiest way to explain it, is just pat it in place. Like, don't pull, don't stretch, you know, just move it over to the edge, give it a flat push, because you're not going to have wavy borders this way. That's the way I was taught up. Now, there are some people, they measure the one length of the quilt and they measure the border, and it's a very precise thing. Yes, you can do all of that when you're doing a very complex border, or you're doing a much longer border, because that's going to help you, right? That having all your measurements there. But we're just making a little baby quilt. We're not making a great big grand king size quilt that, you know, because the baby quilt is far less likely to ruffle because it's a shorter seam. So now what I do is I take this seam and I can go right up to that edge, and I can cut. I'm just going to cut, because some of this, You gotta remember, this is in the very edge, the outer edge of the quilting. So that's the piece I'm cutting off of this end. And now we'll go to the other side of that pin. And because we've cut it in half, essentially, there we go. There, so now we're just gonna pin, again, no pulling, no tugging, no dragging about. And if you find that one is sticking to your clothing, that's creating drag. And that's where you're gonna have a little bit issue, right? But I know there's all sorts of people that get on that very precise, you know, this is how you put on a border. Yes, that's very true. If you were doing this on a king size, you would have ruffles because it's a much longer border, right? That's something you got to keep in mind, right? The longer the border, the more technical, the more stuff you want to make sure is crossed off your list and done correctly. Now, here we go, right to the end. Now I'm going to try and lay this out as flat as I can by patting it in place. And I'm going to put a pin right near the end. There we go. There. And then flip this over, because this is a 6.5 inch piece of fabric that I have had in my stash forever. It is now on its celebrating its like 15th birthday or something like that. It's like, no, it's time to go. So that's the problem when you're working with your scraps all the time. You never get to touch your yardage. So these pieces now, these two pieces that I cut off, they're going to go into the potato chip factory. So for that kind of cutting. So let's get this last border on. And like I say, pinning is your friend, right? In these longer borders. Now this is going to be a little bit more than 4 feet by 4 feet. It's what, 4.5 by 4.5. So it's what, 54 by 54? Yeah. 48 and a half plus 6 is 54. So it's going to be 54 square, which is a good size for the baby quilt. You can use it either in a playpen, right, as a nappy blanket, which would be kind of nice. Okay, there. Yeah, I decided I was going to start using some of my larger stash because I work so much with my scraps. I never make room in my yardage, right? Do you guys follow what I'm saying? It's kind of like if you never move out your yardage, you're always going to have yardage and lots of it. So it's time some of that yardage goes. There. I hope this quilt. I kind of like the idea of that purple, orange, green palette. I just think it's kind of cute. Now I have pressed the border seams open just so the border will lie a little bit flatter as you're quilting this. Now another thing too, remember when you're doing your quilting for your baby quilt, right? Sometimes borders you'll have to make pleats in them because they've got too much of a ruffle when you start doing the free motion quilting. On a baby quilt like this, if you have a little bit of fullness, you can quilt it out with your free motion quilting just by quilting more densely. And everybody forgets to tell you that. And it's, you know, everybody's going to make mistakes on their quilt, right? This or that is going to go wrong and you're like, oh, now how do I fix it? Well, that's how you fix it. You just, you know, if your border is a little full, you do more quilting and the quilting will gather it up and it'll look all right. It's a cheat, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you. Give you a cheat. Give you a cheat so you don't have to stress out about stuff too much. Okay, and that's all got to come up this way, and pat it all flat. Alright. Well, look at that. I got the last triangle. The last white and light triangle. Yay! And I can start getting rid of some of them. Well, I probably have a few more in the bucket, but anyways, okay. So let's get to our ta-da moment. Okay, so here is our baby quilt. Now let me just stand this up and show you. I hope we can be able to see it all, or a good part of it. We'll try and get hubby to take a picture of it so you can put it on the community chat so you can see it. So I went dark purples and more, you know, all of my fabric, background fabric has a little bit of the darker purples, or it has kind of a purpley pinky thing going on. We did, you know, like the little checkerboard, you know, we had fun with this. And it was kind of interesting to see how this all turned out. This became very quick, very easy. And I hope you guys learned something about borders. When you're doing your border, pat. Don't stretch. Don't smooth this way. Pat, smooth. Right? That is the biggest tip. And for shorter borders, you can get away without all the measuring and all the rest of the stuff if you pat and don't pull. Because that motion will pull and you'll end up with ruffles every time. This one ended up pretty flat and pretty quick. I'm quite impressed. So I hope it'll be a lovely little charity baby gift. And the little one who receives it will hopefully will love all the purple and pinks and squirrely little characters that are in this quilt. So I hope you have been giving this one a try, and I hope you, you know, the love chain block I did 4 times and the rest I did just one of, and it kind of worked out great, I think. But anyways, I hope you have an absolutely amazing week ahead and your 1/4 inch is right on the money. So you guys take care and stay well until we meet each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life and, you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your life and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.